Hello, my name is David Eckert. I'm a senior consultant with Coordinated Care Services, CCSI, and this video is going to cover 3 DBT skills for coping with coronavirus, the current coronavirus crisis. So what do we do at CCSI? We offer consultation services primarily to not-for-profit behavioral health providers that look at managed care readiness, that look at performance management and evaluation services, revenue cycle management, and ensuring that there are proper fiscal reports related to cost and quality of services. We offer health information technology consultation so that the IT tools are producing the reports people need. And we also offer trainings. We have a very strong cultural and linguistic competence team. We do trauma-informed practice training, motivational interviewing, and also identify and help people implement evidence-based practices. All of this is brought together through assistance with strategic planning, again, that brings together performance management, choosing to measure what matters, to really show important outcomes, to relate those outcomes to cost and quality of care, to make sure your tools are working to produce the reports you need, that your staff have the training they need to do evidence-based and quality services, and helping you with strategic planning. So we have that ability to help in all those areas, and let us know if we can assist. For this video, we're going to talk about 3 DBT skills for coping with coronavirus in this current crisis. The first skill is a distress tolerance skill called STOP. It's an acronym, S-T-O-P, and we'll talk about what that means. The second skill relates to radical acceptance, and we'll talk about what it means to radically accept something. And the third skill deals with relaxation and rethinking, that mind-body connection and how we can kind of recircuit ourselves. So when we're talking about dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, we have to thank Dr. Marsha Linehan, who developed DBT in the late 1980s. DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, is a type of cognitive behavioral therapy that involves the use of a set of skills to manage distress and improve emotional regulation, among other things. It was originally developed to help individuals with borderline personality disorder to improve their safety and stop self-harming behaviors. It is a fantastic set of skills that also has a broad applications with other needs, such as, again, emotional regulation and distress tolerance. So they are strongly based on mindfulness practices and non-judgmental approaches. And we thank Dr. Linehan for these set of skills that we find so helpful. So the first skill we'll talk about is STOP, the acronym. So what is STOP? The S stands for stop, don't react. When you're feeling distressed, fearful, anxious, angry, or sad, stop. You don't have to react to those emotions or whatever is happening. Give yourself a minute to take control of your mind and emotions. T, take a step back. Remove yourself from the situation, either physically or in your thought process. Take a step back and retreat. Don't act on these emotions. O is for observe. Observe your surroundings and do an internal check-in. What are you feeling right now? What are others doing and saying? And P stands for proceed mindfully. Think about what you would like to see happen and how you can make the situation better. What do you intend? At the minimum, don't do something that's going to make the situation worse. So stop, take a step back, observe, and proceed mindfully. When might you need to do this? Well, let's say emotions are really overwhelming you, and that can happen these days of this COVID-19 crisis, where we get so much bad news that we begin to feel hysterical, extreme anxiety. So stop. Notice what's happening. Don't act on those emotions. Observe it. Do a self-check. What's happening internally? What's happening externally? Then after you've taken that step back and observed it, proceed mindfully. What do you want to do about it? How do you want to address the situation? Insomnia, maybe it's late at night and you have worried thoughts keeping you up. Stop, take a step back, observe what's happening, and what thoughts would you rather have? How do you want to turn your mind to think about something different? Is there anything you can do in the middle of the night about what's on your mind, or should you turn your mind towards something else and return to it in the morning? When you have physical symptoms and stress, like a headache or nausea, or it's playing itself out for you, stop, observe, take a step back, observe what is happening, and then proceed mindfully. Be aware of how stress might be playing itself out on your body. With depression and sadness, stop, take a step back. Observe what's making you so sad. Is it internal? Is it something external? And what can you do about it? How do you want to proceed mindfully? Usually depression, the best way to fight it is with activity. Is there something you can do? How can you get moving? How can you break that cycle of stuckness that happens with depression and sadness? And anger, very understandable these days to feel angry with our situations, with the physical and financial and other limitations that we're experiencing these days. It's really causing a lot of distress. But what are the sources of that distress? And we want to be careful what we do with the anger we're experiencing. We don't want to take it out on those around us. We want to recognize what it is and take that step back, observe what the anger is doing for us, to us, and then proceed mindfully. How do we want to channel it? How do we want to let go of it? DBT skill number 2 has to do with, and this is Winston Churchill, who's famous for saying, keep calm and carry on during World War II to help the British get through World War II. Good advice for these days. DBT skill number 2 is about radical acceptance. What is radical acceptance? It means we've stopped fighting reality. We let go of impulsive and destructive behaviors. How sometimes distressing things can make us take it out on ourselves by overeating or substance use or drinking or other impulsive and destructive behaviors. We want to accept things the way they are, and this acceptance allows us to choose action over suffering. What can we do about the problem? Once we have this acceptance, that puts us in a position of power to decide what we want to do. And a good example of radical acceptance is Nelson Mandela. After being imprisoned 27 years by the South African government, they asked Nelson Mandela how he was able to represent the government that so wrongfully imprisoned him for so long. And he said, resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Really, the emotions that we carry really only harm us. And a great lesson we can learn from Nelson Mandela under his very trying circumstances that we can apply under these trying circumstances. What is it about our current situation that we should accept that can empower us to do something about it? So examples of this, if we're fighting the reality of coronavirus, we're thinking things like, this is surreal. I think we've all thought that from time to time. It can't be happening. How can I get anything done with all this social distancing? And I have so many projects in my head, I don't know where to start, so I just end up binge watching TV. This is a path we can choose. We can do that. That's not wrong. But if we're accepting reality, might we think something more like, even with social distancing, I can still be busy and productive. And though this COVID-19 thing is truly awful, at least I'm safe at home and have great respect for those people that are on the front lines. And though this is happening and much of it is beyond my control, there are things I can control, like taking care of myself, my family, friends, etc. So by accepting reality, I can be empowered to do some things that are useful. So about radical acceptance, though, it doesn't apply when there are basic necessities like food, clothing, and shelter. So not to mistake that we think radical acceptance, that people should radically accept when these basic needs are not met. They shouldn't. And please, of course, use resources in your area. DBT skill number 3 And just a little quote to throw in here: 3 things that cannot be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Speaking of acceptance. Skill number 3 is around relaxation and rethinking. So relaxation, the first part of this, it's a skill that combines both the body and the mind. The first part is progressive relaxation that starts with your fingers and your hands and goes through your wrists and arms and your shoulders, travels all the way through your neck, your head, your chest, through your hips, legs, feet, and out your toes. So the idea is to feel yourself letting go of tension from one end of you to the other. So here's a clip here of how to do progressive relaxation. I recommend that you try it. It's about 6.5 minutes long. It's got some great relaxing music and some nice nature visuals as they walk you through progressive relaxation. So after that, we want to rethink. After we've got our body relaxed, we want to turn our mind toward acceptance and look for what the moment might have to offer. Are there opportunities to take a next step forward on the path toward the life you want to live? What is that positive step? What are your intentions? What do you want to see happen? So get your body involved in relaxing and get your mind involved in thinking of positive alternatives. So it's common for us to experience as we try these skills that it's not working, it's not solving everything. No, what you'll find is that things get better over time when we persist. So you're going to feel like you're not there yet. That's normal. But how does it improve? Well, through using the 3 skills repeatedly. So we deliberately chose 3 so that they'd be easier to remember. So remember, stop, take a step back, observe, and proceed mindfully to manage distress. Radical acceptance. It is what it is. The coronavirus has given us a challenging reality, but it is our reality. So what can we do within that reality? And relaxation and rethinking, taking that time out to relax our bodies and reorient our minds toward what we intend and what we want to see happen next. So the way we get better at these skills: practice, practice, practice. So I wish you well. Good luck in using these skills. We thank our friends at CTAT, the Community Technical Assistance Center. And here is their contact information here. You can see their email. Good luck and stay well.